Let's talk about the game Zach did go to last night. The Lakers fell to the Knicks. Their sixth straight loss. LA hasn't been above 500 since November 30th. And it's funny, at the start of the season, we never would have set 500 as the standard for this young team. But they got off to such a strong start. Everyone raised their expectations, including, by the way, the Lakers themselves. Some of the players were even talking postseason week 2 into the season, which was interesting. Karan, do you think all those expectations, both external and internal, got to be a little bit too weighty for this team?
I don't think so. I think you got to have high expectations going in when you got a young nucleus and a young core. And a new coach, trying to change the energy around there, post Kobe. You want to, have some momentum going forward, and you want them to think win, win, win. But, you lose some of your key guys, and D'Angelo Russell, Nick Young, and you're trying to fill that void. So for them to lose a few games here and there, I don't think the expectations should be the same. I think they should just continue to move forward and try to win games. But, 500 at best is what I had them at.
The fact that we're on television talking about Nick Young as a key loss for the Los Angeles Lakers is the biggest story of the season. Like, they're fine. They were 10-10. They were outperforming.
He looked decent last night.
He's good. Nick Young's had a great. I don't know what Luke Walton did to Nick Young, but it worked. They were never quite as good as a 500 team. They were 27th in defense when they were 10-10. They're last now. But it doesn't even matter. It's the culture change that matters. The young guys are happy. They're playing well. They're playing together. Like, that matters.
But I'm interested in how they do in this next phase. And they're about to leave on a road trip, which obviously kind of can solidify team chemistry. They were, for the last 2 weeks, playing with all of a sudden people walking into that building across the street and saying, I could see the Lakers win tonight. And I felt like you could see it on some of the players' faces, that all of a sudden they weren't just out there having fun. They felt the pressure to do things, and maybe they wanted the ball from each other in a different way than they did before they had any other expectations. Learning to handle that when people think you can win, that's a thing, right? And I haven't seen that yet from the Lakers. I'm curious if it happens on this road trip.
Well, I hope so. And I think they got a great start. I think they start with Sacramento tonight. So that'll be a great opportunity for them to build some momentum.
Wow.
And,
he used to play for that team,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a great opportunity. I think DeMarcus Cousins may have other things in mind, but, it'll be a great chance.
Wow.
They'll be fine. Lakers are fine. This is all gravy going forward. And they're only 3 games out of the playoffs. It's not that far.
Well, there's a lot of teams. The Phoenix Suns didn't you and Earl Watson have a conversation about how
they've lost a few games
since then? Exactly. On to the collective bargaining agreement. The two sides were hoping to reach an extension before this Thursday's opt-out deadline, but Players Association Vice President Carmelo Anthony told our Ramona Shelburne that he is, quote, skeptical of something getting done and that it would take, quote, a miracle to happen. Now, other sources have been more optimistic, but ESPN's Mark Stein reports the issue is licensing, the use of player likenesses. Zach, how concerned are you about all this?
Not super concerned. The opt-out date is December 15th, so it's coming up, but that's sort of a fake deadline, right? It's not a real deadline. They can still negotiate after that. I just have a hard time believing that a year of optimism and almost to the finish line progress is going to be undone by what's not a tiny issue, but it's not a big issue. It's a solvable issue, and everyone is still at least cautiously optimistic. Everyone involved in the process, so I'm not that worried.
How do players feel about it?
I'm not worried at all either, and I think the key words that need to be thrown out is fair and partnership. And I think if they go in with that objective, I think everything will be fine. The
thing, though, is that if they don't beat this Thursday deadline, it's not that it's just, they've got more time to negotiate. It changes what the negotiation is. If they do it before Thursday, then this is an extension of the current CBA. And the small issues that they've been working on, those change, but the general CBA stays intact. Once they hit Thursday, if sides opt out, which they would be expected to if we hit Thursday, then it's a whole new CBA. Then they're, quote, starting from scratch. And yes, they can work through the framework of what they've had for the last 6 months or a year, as you've said. But then players hey, we've been talking about marijuana use, right, recently. We've been talking about scheduling recently. All those issues that might not have been at the front of the negotiations, once you rip the whole thing up, those are a lot more points of discussion, and then you start having the cold sweats about maybe another lockout.
Doesn't worry me. They've been talking about all that stuff, front burner, back burner, whatever burner they've been on. All those issues have been brought up to some degree in the talks. They've already been talking about the broader CBA, and it kind of agreed that the general structure is going to stay the same. So it doesn't really worry me.
Bargaining tactic by Melo to push everybody to make it by Thursday?
You got great business individuals in the players. Chris Paul, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade is going to have a hand in it. I think the game is at an all-time high right now, and no one want to have the stoppage.
Not
And
gonna
no
kill the
hiccups.
Golden
No,
Goose.
don't kill it.
James Harden is mean. He knows Marcus Morris faces an impossible choice, and with one cruel glance toward Trevor Ariza on the wing, Harden freezes him. Another Houston pick and roll, another alley-oop. That is straight up predatory. Unleashing him as a point guard has amped up the pace. He speeds right into the offense. Look at him squeeze that bounce pass between all those feet. Harden is a master of spins and angles. He has every pass in his bag. The league has no antidote to the Harden pick and roll machine. Switch a big man onto him, and Chef Harden is cooking. Hug Ryan Anderson, and Harden drives until he sees that telltale lean. He'll even spot your shortest defender and play some bully ball against him. This is the genius of James Harden. Harden doesn't hog the ball for the sake of hogging it. He's waiting, watching, hunting for that help defender who creeps in one step too far. No one goes from static to dynamic faster than James Harden. Houston went all in on him by ditching Dwight Howard's sad post-ups and building a lethal spread pick and roll attack tailor-made for its leftover superstar. Now we'll see how far James Harden can take them.
Welcome back to The Jump. That was some random guy named Zach Lowe talking about Jay. Oh, hi. This is embarrassing right here. I actually wish we had a camera on Zach while that piece was running because your face kept contorting into...
I don't like my voice. I want a better voice. I want like Ernie Johnson's voice.
TV voice?
Yeah.
James Earl Jones voice?
I mean, that's a little much.
Morgan
Okay, EJ.
Freeman voice.
Yeah.
That's what
Morgan Freeman voice, that'd be good. Harden does lead the league in assists. He's 6th in scoring. Are you ready to call him the best point guard in the NBA right now?
It's a tricky question. He doesn't defend point guards, so does he count as a point guard? But offensively, he's playing point guard, so we're going to count him. I think this season he's been the best point guard in the NBA by like a hair over CP and Steph and Russ. Like all those guys are super duper close through 25 games. I think Harden's been by a tiny margin the best of them.
Did you see Chris Paul 2020 game with
I did.
0 turnovers and the
That's
way
pretty
he
impressive.
controlled that whole game? I think that was one of the most impressive stat lines of all season. But I agree with you. You know, James Harden is
But
just.
also,
I mean, James Harden is
said.
balling right now, and he's distributing the ball and his player usage. I mean, he's been amazing. And I talked to Gilbert about it this summer, Gilbert Arenas, and I said, what player right now active reminds you most of yourself? And he said, James Harden. I would have thought Dame Dot
right?
or Steph Curry with the shots and turning around,
Yeah.
but he said James Harden.
That's pretty good. And he's engaged more. I mean, you played with James. He needs to be mentally engaged to be able to, the defense, to be able to do all the other parts of the game. And you can tell that he's having so much fun in this offense that he is more engaged in the defense. He's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year. But the fact that he seems to be paying attention more often, he's not letting guys walk by him in the same way that they did last year. You have to at least give him some credit for improvement there. I mean, we certainly gave him a hard time last season.
Yeah, James Harden can be a good defensive player. At the he has to carry such a huge load. He's doing everything on offense.
Right.
It's hard to do both. You just got to be average, and he's been fine. He's been average, maybe a little worse, but close.
You can't let it go.
I like what I'm seeing.
See, there you
He's
go.
playing good basketball.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's move on to another player Zach has seen a lot of recently, Rudy Gobert. The Jazz won 4 of their last 5 games. They lured Zach down to Utah. They spent like a week there with promises of sharing Boris Diaw's espresso supply.
Yeah.
It was really magic for you down there in Salt Lake
I like
City.
Utah.
You were tweeted the following while you were there. Biggest thing that jumps out watching the Jazz all week in person, even more than on TV, Rudy Gobert got awesome, playing with such force. Is this the best big man no one's talking about? Why are only you talking about him?
Everyone
Is it
should
the
be-
espresso?
People should be talking about Rudy Gobert. He's really good. Like the Jazz people say, you never know with the 7-footer, right? Do they love the game? Are they going to work? This guy loves the game. He works and works and works. His hands, you're going to see here, his hands are much better looking. That's tough for a 7-footer lefty offhand to do that. He's sealing people in the post and getting little dunks out of it. That won a game in Phoenix, that dunk right there. He's shooting 67%. He leads the league in field goal percentage. And he's shooting like 70% at the line. And when a big man shoots better at the line, they get more confident. Like something happened to that guy over the summer. He's made a big leap.
I think he's not going unnoticed. I think if you look in the NBA circle everyone knows when they go to Salt Lake City or if they come into town, Utah Jazz coming to town, that guy is a force in the middle, and he's a force to be reckoned with.
Where is Utah right now? Because we had them on the cusp of something for 3 years now?
Yeah.
What would you feel like they're
on the cusp of something.
they hopped over that cusp?
Well, if half their team is injured all the time, if the whole team could actually play, we might have some idea.
Part of basketball, right?
It's impressive that they're 15 and 10.
floor.
I think they're 15 and 10 with all the injuries they had. That's impressive. Let's just see what the team is.
Right? I mean,
I
you
think they're a
buy
playoff
in
team.
on them? Is this the year?
I think they're a playoff team. You know, being 15 and 10 and having Hayward come back and look as good as he's looked, I think they're on the cusp of doing what we all envisioned them doing. Finally.
Finally. Boom. All right, got to take a quick break, but first let's look at our distant replay from this date in 2000.
19-8, the Nets extending their lead here in the third, up by 21.
Latest in my favorite ongoing NBA soap opera, As the Kings Turn. Yeah, you know it, you love it, you need it. Rumors have been swirling of DeMarcus Cousins being traded sooner rather than later. However, Cousins insisted to our Mark Stein, dun dun dun, he is happy in Sacramento. I'm trying to do like the voice of the deep Victor. No, I'm not really pulling it off. All right, Boogie said on the trade rumors, to know you're wanted throughout the league. See, that sounds soap opera-y. I'd be worried if nobody wanted me. Then I'd have a situation on my hands. But I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with this team. I'm in a great place. I can picture him like on a pier with the wind blowing in his hair.
You're into this.
I'm not leaving. I'm happy.
I'm on a boat.
Don't take me away. Right? It's all happening. It's little days of our lives as the world. It's all in there. All right. You spent time in Sacramento with Boogie. Do you buy that he's happy on the boat with the hair on the thing?
I do. I actually reached out to him and, I asked him, how was he feeling about the rumors and everything. And he just said, my ultimate goal is to be, the best player that I possibly can be.
It's not an answer.
And I want to win games. I want to win games here.
Okay.
And I want to be I want to be a leader. So we'll see what happens.
Well, they're 8 and 15, and this is year 7 of being terrible in Sacramento in the DeMarcus Cousins era. So, look, people there say he's generally, his attitude has been better this year. He's playing well. He's playing like, I don't know how many players in the league are better than that guy. But is he happy? You have to ask him. But I have a hard time believing a guy who wants to win that badly is like, yeah, this is where I want to be. This is the team I want to be in. We're 8 and 15 again.
I buy that Sacramento wants to keep him because they need to draw people to that building, which is why they've
The
kept
new
him
building.
all these years. New building that you are trying to fill that's very expensive.
Definitely.
I'm not sure I buy that he's happy. I do buy that we are going to hear that soap opera music yet again later this season because it's always a soap opera in Sacramento. All right, it is time for, you heard that, make or miss. And our first one is make ambition. Look where Jonathan Simmons is when Patty Mills throws this pass. What was more impressive, Zach, the pass or the finish?
I got to go with the pass. That's to throw it then that early and see it that early. That's impressive.
All right? It's
That's
pretty
something
good.
they worked on over and over in practice. That's just the feel of the game. Young fella, go get it.
Gotta like how well Simmons fits in there. All right, miss rationality. I've heard of protests, but guys, this guy handcuffed himself to the Smoothie King Center to protest Alvin Gentry's coach while the Pelicans were on the road. So they could have just left him there. I mean, if you're gonna handcuff yourself, do it when they're home.
The reason I'm laughing because I know the Pelicans have Twitter and Instagram. I mean, you got to know where they're at.
Protest something real. Protest a real thing.
There's nothing real in the world to protest right now, Zach. Woo. Make social media. Come on, does Richard Jefferson get an A for access here? He's got the Snapchat glasses. He's giving you like his full perspective on shooting on the court.
I think he's on to something here, and I would love to see LeBron James and Chris Paul give fans the vision insight with these goggles.
Zach, you're next on this,
Can
right?
I go an hour with you without Snapchat coming up one time?
No, you cannot.
She's the ambassador.
No, you cannot. Miss ankles, 2 broken ankles, 20 points, 20 assists, and 0 turnovers. Zach, best stat line of the season for CP3?
No. Anthony
What?
Davis had 50 points, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 4 steals. Come on.
What?
That LASIK surgery Chris Paul had over the summer paying off. He looked good. He looked good, especially since he had some turnovers in previous games. Clean that up. Make flash, Karan. You like the extra mustard here Brandon Jennings puts on this pass last night.
I love it, young fella. I love it, man. I'm so happy to see him healthy and having fun.
Right? 14 miles from his hometown. He knew what he was doing for the hometown crowd. Make legacy. Tim Duncan spotted working out with Pau Gasol this morning at Spurs practice. Do you like this, that he's mixing it up still, or is he showing up Pau Gasol?
I feel like Tim Duncan's been doing this in like 30 years.
Right.
Tim Duncan on the block in San Antonio, coming from his auto body shop. It's Timmy.
Did you see the tattoo he got over the weekend?
I saw it on the back. I like it, Tim.
You like that? There's
Yeah,
a lot
man.
going on there. Like the machinery inside of Tim Duncan, it wasn't bad. Karan, thank you for being with
Thanks for
us.
having me
Zach will be
anytime.
back tomorrow. We'll look at Zach's tattoo tomorrow.